studios in New York City. This is Charlie Rose.
This year marks the 10th year anniversary of the Shawshank Redemption, a film that was nominated for 7 Academy Awards. Since that time, the film has seeped into our culture and our hearts. It is one of the most memorable stories in home video history. It found its audience through television, video, and Laserdisc. Within 5 years, the movie became a phenomenon. With me today is the director, Frank Darabont, and two of the film stars, Morgan Freeman and Tim Robbins. I am pleased to have them here. Welcome.
Thank you so much, sir.
Since I've seen you, you have learned to fly.
I've learned to fly.
Since I've seen you, you've won another Academy Award.
My first.
Your first.
Yeah.
Well, and how about you, Frank?
I've been, I don't know.
Should have been your second.
Getting
Should
grayer.
have been your second. The first should have been for Andy, right?
Yep.
Well, then was
Thank
that?
you, Morgan.
Well, I got nominated, and I was certainly there with you.
And you should have won as well.
Well,
But 7, you won 7.
But we nominated. We
Nominated for
got
7.
we were
No,
nominated
nominated for
for
7, I'm
seven,
sorry.
We won none.
We
won
won not a
none.
stinking one.
no.
Well, it was the year of Gump.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, this film, more than any film probably since then, has gone on to have this kind of mystique, success in the DVD market and everywhere else. Now it's going to be reissued
Yes.
as a DVD
And theatrically as
and
well.
theatrically as
Prior to
well
that.
in
All
September.
right, all right. Yeah. We're here
Yes.
just going to get a new theatrical release.
Yes.
Wow. See what happens there.
Pretty cool.
Right. So I want to explore this phenomenon first with you. Take me through a Stephen King novella to a script.
That was a process of actually beginning about 5 years before we shot the movie, of getting the rights from Steve King. I had done a short film based on one of his short stories, so he knew me and knew of my work, so I asked him for the rights to this. I think he was intrigued because it seemed so unlikely a movie that he actually said yes. It took about 5 years to get around to it, but then I sat down and wrote the script, 8 weeks flat, took it straight to Castle Rock. They read it, took it to them because of Rob Reiner, really, and because of Stand By Me, which was also a Stephen King story, and a very delicate material. I figured if anybody got Shawshank, it would have to be them. And they did, and I had just nothing but wonderful support from them from that moment on.
So this was a movie easy to sell once you had a script.
Yes, with Castle Rock out there, absolutely. And thank God for them, really, because it might have been easy to sell to another studio, but then who knows exactly through the development process, what might have wound up on screen. Castle Rock left it alone and let it happen, which is rare.
How is the movie, in terms of script, different from the story that Stephen King? For example, Red is an Irish, what else?
He's a white Irish guy.
White Irish guy.
Hey, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
He didn't say he was white Irish. It could have been black Irish.
Could have been black.
Absolutely.
Some parts were enhanced.
Yes.
You killed off some characters that weren't killed off by.
Yes, indeed. The Gil Bellows character, the young Tommy character, was not, gotten rid of quite so dramatically as in the film. But these are the screws that you tighten, really, when you adapt a script. The James Whitmore character didn't actually exist in the Steve King story.
It became a big thing.
It became actually the narrative, the thematic spine, I think, to the narrative was the James Whitmore character, really to be illustrative of the theme and what these guys, the equation these guys were balancing.
The Andy character.
Yeah.
Pretty much what it was.
Yes, very close, very close. Although Steve King did describe him as a little guy.
Yeah. Is that it? No 6'5" here.
No, no. Little guy, white guy. I totally, went opposite.
Now, the idea to have the narration from Red,
Yeah.
was that there?
That was very much a function of the voice that Steve King used to tell the story. It was a first-person narrative. In a sense, the story was narrated by Red. And that voice was so strong and so present in his story that I really couldn't imagine the movie without it. So when I adapted the script, I followed that as my path. And then, luckily, we had this man's voice.
Exactly. We'll get to that later. More about that later. So casting. So you know your script, you know your narration. You know what you want to do with this film.
Yeah.
You go to him and
Yeah.
you send him a script.
Yeah.
He's your first guest.
Yeah.
You saw the script. Mm-hmm. Liked it.
Loved it. They just sent me the script, and so
They didn't say the job is yours. They said read this.
yeah, read this, and I read it. My agent had sent it to me, and I said, "Oh, this is fabulous." And I said, "Okay, who they want me to play?" He said, "Red." I said, "You're kidding?" I said, "No, that's the part.
And why did you say
never knew that.
you're kidding?
That's the whole shebang. That's the movie."
Yeah.
I mean, that.
So why is
that
Morgan Freeman?
drives the whole thing. It sets the tone for it.
It's his integrity
establishes-
that is the core of this movie.
Well, it's yeah.
Yeah, Frank, am I right or not?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So why were you surprised they wanted you to play that character, or were
I'm
you?
always surprised when they give me a good role. I'm always surprised.
Even
It's just-
today, huh?
Even today, yeah. You know, it's just.
And when you see one, you just say,
yeah,
I mean,
they were-
you
they
just
were-
hug it and
you
say,
just- yeah, I'll do it. Yes.
And so you get the script.
Yes.
And is this as good a script as you've seen? I mean, is this a script that comes along once every generation or once every decade
I
or
would
once
say
every
that's
something?
probably the best script I've ever read.
I take credit. I take credit.
For what? Bringing him in. You were his idea? He was your idea?
Was it?
What?
Yeah.
I'd heard this before. Nick.
I didn't know that.
They said.
You didn't know that until right now?
You might have told me.
Or you might have forgotten it.
Well,
'Cause
he said stuff like that. He's taught me everything I know about acting too. so I never know when to take him seriously. But
No, but they did. They, you know, we caucused and we were and they said, well, so who do you want to play Andy? And they gave me a list of names. I said, that one. Excellent. I said,
You did?
yeah.
In other words, he was on the list of names. You said, this is the guy. And why did you think Robbins was right for Andy?
Because he's right for just about
Everything.
anything. Yeah, he's
Right.
really
I
and
mean, Mystic Rivers is very far from Andy as you can get, I guess.
yeah, and you know they were just actors who you want to do certain things with, and he's the guy.
Now, is this the way you operate? You show your lead here, a list of people that might be associated with him, whatever the largeness or the smallness of the role is, and say, tell me how you feel about this?
I solicit ideas from everybody around me, and certainly asking the actors who are already committed who else they might have in mind is never
These
a
are
bad
people
idea.
we're thinking about. That's what they said. These are people we're thinking about.
Absolutely.
Which one of these would you
But
feel comfortable
the same
with?
would have been true had Tim been cast first.
First.
I'm
You would have
sure
said
we would
who?
have gone through the same process, not just as a courtesy, but
No,
hey,
it's
what do you
part of
think?
it.
Now,
Who's-
suppose Morgan's
where
name
do you
didn't
think
fit on the list. Would you have chosen him?
oh, absolutely.
He better not say anything now. Yeah.
What did I tell you when I first met you?
No.
Yeah,
Well-
electric company, baby.
And how many years have you been hearing that?
But it was really seriously just the script. There's no. You probably wouldn't have had any problem with other studios because the script is just it's a blueprint for great script writing. It's
Yeah.
really if you're studying script writing, it's the one.
Okay,
to
but
read.
tell me what that means. I mean, it means the characters and what they say.
It all
And
rolls off the page. The descriptions are great. The visual, your idea that you get of what it is visually, you get the tone in the writing, you get the character development. There's all the right things are left out, which is a hard thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the subtext that some writers have a tendency to want to put in there, just lays back on it. You know, each of these characters has secrets and that you want to know about, and you don't know what the real thing is. You don't know if this guy's guilty or not. You don't know what my secret is for the whole thing. So there's all these little things in it that added up to just a tremendous script.
And it moves. It just moves. You know, covers what 20 years,
20 years, yeah.
and you can tell that amount of time is going. That it's not like, oh well, just a minute ago there was so and so. You know, I mean it has the arc is clear.
Does this also mean that an actor can really do his, not only you're given the page, but then you can do what you bring best, which is surprise, creativity to the part?
Yeah, I think when you read a script like this, each page is painting you.
Yeah.
You know, is filling you in. All of the dots are being connected for you. And it's what makes acting a joy when you get to do it. You get a script that says, it's all already there. We don't have to go and sit and say, okay, how are we going to get this across? Because it's done. It's
Tell me
done.
about your
You know that intuitively. You know? Tell you what?
Tell me about your character.
Red?
Yeah.
He's, I thought he sort of Red as a guy who just took life as it came. He made one serious error. He married the wrong woman. Because whatever she did, she pushed him all the way to the brink of himself. And he stepped over the line, saw it. They sentenced him to life in prison, and he said, that's, okay, that's it, that's what it is.
I'll deal with it.
I'll deal with it. So, of course, you always want to get out when you're in. If you have a parole possibility, you know, you try it. I love the moments when he was before the parole board.
Those are my favorite moments of your
That's
acting
really?
in any movies. Those three scenes that are the
progression of
those
appearances
years.
before the parole board.
Before the parole board,
Yeah.
yeah. Those three scenes, I think, are as good as it gets. I just love what Morgan did in those scenes.
What was it he did?
He described the trajectory of this character, of this man's life, so beautifully, and in doing so, also described the trajectory of the movie's theme so beautifully. To get to that, especially that last scene where he comes to this complete and utter acceptance, just completely owning who he is, what he has done, and what this whole experience has been, inspired by the example of this man's character, and just all the BS is gone, and it's
This
so
man character
beautifully-
leads him to the final parole hearing.
Yeah, yeah,
And he can do what he did and say what he said.
yes, exactly.
What's the theme of this movie? You said this reflects the theme.
That's
work on it.
yeah, we're working on it, baby. I was still trying to figure it out.
You've had this question before.
Well, so I think that the best movies really leave that for, and this is not the cop out on the question, but I think the ones that I love the best are the ones that let the audience bring that answer to the table. Ultimately, it's what does the movie mean, not to me or to us, but to you and to the people who've seen it. And that's really fascinating because we've gotten some amazing reaction. I'm sure you guys have as well. Yeah. Some amazing reactions through the years. The film seems to be something of a Rorschach for people. They project their own lives, their own difficulties, their own obstacles, and their own triumphs into it, whether that's a disastrous marriage or a serious debilitating illness that somebody's trying to overcome. They view the bars of Shawshank as a metaphor for their own difficulties and then consequently their own hopes and triumphs. And people really do draw strength from the movie for that reason.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say one of the lessons of the movie is that you can't overcome adversity.
You can.
You can. You can.
And it starts inside yourself.
It starts with, yeah. And that's the catalyst for that.
And he's the catalyst for that.
He's
Because
one.
what happens to him? You give me this sort of who is Andy and how does he overcome?
Andy is probably the only innocent person in Shawshank. Everyone says they are, but he is there, shouldn't be there, but finds a way to survive. And the way he finds a way to survive is through a very slow trajectory. A 20-year plan that he will get out. But in order to survive, in the meantime, seeks stimulation, music, art, literature, and tries to inspire that in people around him. An idea of hope. And there's that scene in the dining room where he talks about hope. And Red says it's a dangerous thing, and you know, and I think that's one of the reasons why people have responded so much to the movie. Is that you were talking
the triumph of hope?
Well, the idea of hope, that it is possible, that everyone, despite whatever marriage or a terrible job you're stuck in, or situation, domestic situation, that everyone does have the hope that there is possible in your life a beach in Zihuatanejo, that is a possible goal, that exists out there. And I think that's maybe why it's lasted so long and become such a profound movie for so many people.
I think I read somewhere that men come up to you a lot.
Yeah.
About this movie, or they did
That's
right
the
after
other
it was...
thing that's really interesting. You know, there's not a lot of movies with male friendships that don't involve car chases. Or, you know?
Yes.
They're
not buddy films.
Right. It's really about a real friendship, you know, and there's no model, really, for...
Real friendship with no sex, just sheer sense of...
Well, I don't know about no sex. I mean,
well,
he
there's
was
sex
raped
going
regularly. No, not for me.
But Morgan, that's not sex. That's a violation.
You know sex, and that's not sex.
All right. I agree.
Let me tell you, so it's hope, so it's friendship, of themes that come out of this?
Friendship is a big one there, because a lot of people told me that the big moment for them, the moment they cherish, the one moment they take away with them, is the moment that Red finds the box at the Abyssinian Rock. It's like everything sort of closes in and gets tight at that moment. That how many ever years ago that Andy told Red that when Red got out and decided to follow that, it was there. That was very, very important to people. Yeah. Very important.
Let me go to my first scene. This is Red at his parole hearing. I know
this is the last one.
This is the last one, and listen to what he says.
Ellis Boyd Redding, your files say you've served 40 years of a life sentence. You feel you've been rehabilitated?
Rehabilitated? Well, now, let me see. You know, I don't have any idea what that means.
Well, it means you're ready to rejoin society.
I know what you think it means, Sonny. To me, it's just a made-up word. A politician's word, so that young fellas like yourself can wear a suit and a tie and have a job. What do you really want to know? Am I sorry for what I did?
Well, are you?
There's not a day goes by I don't feel regret. Not because I'm in here, because you think I should. I look back on the way I was then. A young, stupid kid who committed that terrible crime. I want to talk to him. I want to try to talk some sense to him. Tell him the way things are. But I can't. That kid's long gone, and this old man is all that's left. I gotta live with that. Rehabilitated. It's just a bullet word. So you go on and stamp your form, Sonny, and stop wasting my time. Because to tell you the truth, I don't give a
What did he, we're not talking about the movie, what did he, Andy, teach you, Red, that you said, and that, what was that?
There is hope.
There is hope.
There is hope. He's out.
Because he's out in his mind.
He's out, period. He's out. Outside, gone. Yeah. That was a feat. That was...
You were there.
That was something. 20 years of tunneling. Just one man with a little ice axe, chipping away at solid rock. That's... To make up your mind to do it, you can do it. How do I know?
He
friend did it.
Your friend did it.
I love the effect that that has on him in this scene, though. Because he's a man who's got no more lying left in him. He's got no more masks.
That's what I'm saying. I thought that was part of it. And he is so totally...
There's a guy who's to some degree already free because he's been completely liberated to the point where he can look these guys in the eye and tell them exactly what he thinks.
It was just noticing that, and it's such a beautiful performance there. But did you notice how slow that dolly was? Mm-hmm. That creep in. Yeah. It was just, he started around here, and by the time you had finished, it was here, and it had been about 2 minutes. I don't know. It's very, very difficult.
Because I was thinking
That's a very difficult movement.
When I was watching that, I thought you were just holding it. I was saying, boy, Frank is just holding that shot. He's going to be there for the entire point.
Yeah, but I love when that happens because when you get to see a performance like that without cuts, where you see the development of the line, where you see it's not manipulated with someone else's emotions, just to allow the actor to keep going forward. I love that.
It's thrilling for me, those scenes. Scene like between the two of you in the shadow of the shadow of the prison wall, when you guys are talking about Mexico, when you're talking about your dream.
Roll tape.
I played a mean harmonica as a younger man. Lost interest in it, though. Didn't make much sense in here.
Here's where it makes the most sense. You need it so you don't forget.
Forget.
Yeah, forget that there are places in the world that aren't made out of stone, that there's something inside that they can't get to, that they can't touch. It's yours.
What are you talking about?
Hope.
Hope. Let me tell you something, my friend. Hope is a dangerous thing. Hope can drive a man insane. It's got no use on the inside. You better get used to that idea.
Like Brooks did.
Why does he leave then? And was
We
that in
got
the
word
script?
that Brooks had killed himself.
Right. He got word he killed himself outside because he'd been free.
Right.
And in fact, he was an institutional man.
Don't want to hear this kind of stuff. And it's true, you know, you're in here for life, you're in here for life. Hoping you'll get out is a waste of time. Total waste of time. Bring your mind here, deal.
Or you'll go crazy.
Oh, you're gonna go insane, yeah. You know.
But your character has courage. He doesn't seem like a courageous guy when you meet him. He seems like a guy, you don't know who he is. You know he's been victimized by this events that lead him here. Mm-hmm. But up on the roof, an extraordinary scene on the roof, where you could have been pushed over and nobody would have known different. But you live by your wits and by your courage as a character.
I think the wits, yes. I'm not so sure about the courage. I think in those moments, like he does that, and there's the moment where he locks himself in the warden's office and plays music and knows he's going to get punished. I think he just needs to feel alive. I think it's that thing that happens in institutionalization where your senses get deadened and you just need to burst out of it and feel alive, to get a beer on the roof.
Right.
Or the goals are simple, to get some beers for my buddies and to hear some Mozart.
That's after the fact. I think initially this was a desperation not to get thrown off the roof. I tell you what I can do for you. I can do something for you.
Right.
Well, yeah, I think he knew he was going to propose that. I didn't think he didn't think he'd be on the ledge so soon.
Oh.
But I think he knew that he had
formulating a way to.
Yeah, he was gonna propose this plan in order to just, it's a very simple goal, but just to feel alive, just to shake it up a little bit. I don't know if that's courage or maybe it's just out and out recklessness.
It is defiance. And defiance, some would say, is freedom.
Yes.
How much directing is here? I mean, to listen to them they are so caught up in we're all caught up in the characters, you know, because it touches our lives and we makes us think about things, emotional things that hit the heart, having to do with being alive, having to do with hope, having to do with defiance, having to do with love, friendship, you know.
Well, there are all those issues certainly that you carry in your. You've both directed,
Right.
so you back
Yeah,
me
I
up
heard
on
him
this.
directing when he's talking about the, you know, clearly that was a man that thinks about directing.
You're always trying to maintain those conceptual thoughts, aren't you? Yeah, those emotional issues, those thematic issues in your head. But at the same time, you've undertaken this huge technical challenge as well, and you're trying to just stay alive, you know, day by day, make your days, you know. And so you're balancing that big technical challenge, really, which any film is, with those finer, more ephemeral things, and it gets a little schizo sometimes, I find.
Two things. Number one, this film was not received universally as a big money winner, a big, huge critical success. More critical success than financial success in the beginning.
We got extremely well reviewed, except in a few key areas. So the perception was we hadn't gotten well reviewed at all, you know, because the 5 reviews that people read across the country are the ones that kicked our butts.
From big papers?
Yeah. It's got, you know, like the LA Times and the
New York Times.
New York
New York
Times.
Times. Yeah, for some reason we just. Thus has it ever been.
Chicago Sun-Time.
Roger Ebert?
Yeah.
Didn't like it.
He did.
He did like it. That's
He
what
Did.
I thought. Yeah.
And then wrote a review, like when Green Mile came out, wrote a new review for Shawshank, which was
Green Mile is
even
another
better,
film
yeah.
that Frank did. Yeah.
But that you know, that's the way it's always been for my movies. Green Mile, Majestic, same thing. You know,
Did well in DVD sales.
The Sacramento Bee loves the movie, and so many other folks who saw the movie love the movies. But those like key Kenneth Turan in the LA Times hates me, and you just can never get a good review in those very visible places. But that's not the point. The reviews really aren't the point.
But is this the
what
point
counts
also?
is what the public thinks, and there we've had enormous.
But did you have it in the beginning?
For the people who saw the movie, absolutely.
No, word of mouth was good, so they liked it. But
They liked it.
Were there lots of them? In other words, was the box office success?
It's not enough.
No.
When you have a movie, if you don't get immediate
Over the first weekend.
crackle word of mouth
right.
that
You
forces
must
the
see
studio.
this movie right away.
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
stuff,
If you don't get that right off, there are a lot of people who went and saw it. I remember guys telling me, "Boy, that was a great movie." I told my wife about it. She said she didn't want to go see a prison movie, so you don't get. And then that was the problem of the title.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw this movie. It was really terrific. It's called. So that's it. That's what it did right there. You know?
I like his riffs on this.
Yeah. What?
Oh,
This-
God.
this-
I had
this-
someone else the other day.
Scrimshaw retention? Or?
Scrimshaw reduction.
Yeah. Hudsucker reduction. I did, got that. Somebody said I saw you in Shawshank, man.
Shimshunk.
Yeah.
I get Shimshunk reduction, Shimshunk redemption.
Redemption.
Shimshaw.
Shimshaw, Shake Sham.
Yeah, but you weren't worried about this when you kept the title, huh?
To this day, nobody suggested a better title to me.
I did. I suggested.
What did you suggest?
I said, why are you?
Red Story.
No. The title of the story is Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption. Just keep that on the poster. Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption. They
See, I
said,
think that's a good
well,
idea.
it won't fit on the marquee. Rita Hayworth will fit on the marquee. Rita Hayworth. ... On down here, when you look down here on the one sheet, Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, you remember Rita Hayworth was the cover for The Digging.
Yes.
When did you know that this was something special? While you were shooting it? I mean, was it apparent there in that prison? Where was the prison? In Ohio?
Ohio, Mansfield, Ohio.
And it was a terrible death place, wasn't it? I mean, it was an awful prison.
It was an awful place. It had been deactivated about 3 years prior to our coming there to film, and was really we were forestalling a date with the Wrecking Ball. They were going to tear the place down, or most of it at any rate. And it had, I remember, well, we all felt it. And Tim also, I remember, said it best, really. I think that you just felt the weight of all that sadness of all those years, and it seeped into the stone of this
It
place.
came from my son.
It came from your son,
did he
that's
say?
right, I
He
remember.
walked in and he said, "This place is very sad."
Yeah.
And I don't want to be here. And he, you know, it was seriously palpable, the pain that was in that room. You could really
Dark
feel
little
it.
cells,
Yeah, very-
those
very
tiny
unique.
cells, tiny cells.
Yeah.
Weep, us,
Cold.
cold,
Cold.
Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah, it was quite a place.
How'd you get it?
I was asking around, you know, of every film commission in the country. You got a big empty prison. We need to go shoot a movie, and we had two choices. One was in Ohio, and one was in Nashville. I wound up using the Nashville one for Green Mile.
But when Morgan sat down at a table to read, when you had your actors come together, because you wanted them, my assumption, coming to this, because these were people who knew each other. So you wanted there to be some chemistry among your actors, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Before you shot your first scene.
These guys, particularly, the whole movie lived and died whether or not they had chemistry. And what I love watching those clips is seeing again that chemistry was so palpable and so there. But it's a bit of a roll of the dice because you don't know when you're casting necessarily whether that chemistry is really going to be there.
Or there are
or
people
not.
that cast husband and wives, and turns out it doesn't.
Yeah, exactly.
You know that, don't you? Roll tape. This is what I love about it, among 100 reasons. It is about friendship, and it's about conversation. It is about the power of words, giving flight to emotion, ideas, qualities, human qualities. Roll tape.
In here, I'm the guy who can get things for you, sure, but outside, all you need is the yellow pages. Hell, I wouldn't even know where to begin. Pacific Ocean? About scare me to death, something that big.
Not me. I didn't shoot my wife, and I didn't shoot her lover. Whatever mistakes I made, I paid for them and then some. That hotel, that boat, I don't think that's too much to ask.
I don't think you ought to be doing this to yourself, Andy. This is just pipe dreams. I mean, Mexico is way the hell down there, and you're in here, and that's the way it is.
Yeah, right. That's the way it is. It's down there, and I'm in here. I guess it comes down to a simple choice, really. Get busy living, or get busy dying.
Did you like the way he shot that?
Yeah.
I did too.
Yeah.
It was one of my favorite days of filming.
Because?
Because of what you were saying before, is just the sheer, and like that scene in the the sheer simplicity of pointing the camera at the actors and letting them do their job, taking the text, finding the subtext, and delivering it. When you're directing, this oftentimes it's like leading a three-ring circus. But there are days like that. And I remember very distinctly the day we shot that, me just sitting on an apple box and just staring at these guys for hours. And they were showing me my movie again. You know, the one I had in my head when I was there alone at the computer writing it, doing the adaptation. They were showing me my movie again, and it's so lovely to be reminded from time to time in the three-ring circus of directing a movie what your movie is. And that's the essence of the movie there, you know? So I didn't really have to do a damn thing that day. I just had to make sure the camera was in focus and sit and watch these guys do their brilliant work together. That was a real thrill.
How many takes for that scene?
Not a lot of that, I don't think.
I can't remember.
Not
There's-
that many.
We did maybe
Three.
4 or 5 or something like that.
Maybe.
Yeah, I remember 3. Might have done 4 or 5. Mostly.
I'd have
That's
to,
one of those moments when in your shooting, you know that like you say that scene is really the movie. So all the stuff you've been doing leading up to it, once you get to that day when you're going to do that, it's there. It's ready to go. You don't really have to spend much time agonizing over it. Whereas if you scheduled that in the first couple weeks, it would have been impossible.
You wouldn't have it. It wouldn't be so much. You wouldn't have learned, absorbed,
Right.
felt.
We did shoot most of it in sequence.
In sequence, yeah.
We did, yeah, because
That's
yeah.
a wonderful part about doing a movie like this, because you actually do grow with the part, you know, and it's easy.
And their relationship also grew during the filming.
Their relationship as human beings.
Just as just as friends, just as to you know, Tim and Morgan, the actors, sort of bonding as people, and that I think showed up in the characters as well. It was a great advantage to be able to shoot in. We weren't in strict continuity, but we're definitely in continuity of years. So we would shoot out, say, 1947, and then move on to 1950, whatever. So the first parole thing that he shot was early in the schedule, and the last one was very late in the schedule. You know, and that was, I think that was really advantageous to do it that way.
Two things can be said. One, movies like certainly Casablanca and perhaps even Citizen Kane may not have been as sort of, did not certainly have at their opening what they later grew to have. I mean, powerful take on.
It's a Wonderful Life, too.
Wonderful Life, too. Another perfect example of that. When you look at this now, where does it rank within the kinds of film experiences you have had? I mean, how many are there like this? 2 or 3?
I think there were 4.
4?
Mm-hmm.
Daisy?
Unforgiven.
Unforgiven.
Driving Miss Daisy. And Glory.
Glory.
Yeah.
But that makes a career worth right there.
Oh, heavens. I've had more.
That's 4 good movies.
Yeah. I've had
pretty
more
good.
good luck, more good fortune as an actor, being able to get these roles. I mean, I've had some wowies.
Some wowies?
Yeah, this was a wowie, you know.
Yeah, this was a wowie. And how about you?
Same.
Same.
Yeah, about
You,
4.
3 or 4.
Yeah. I'd say Bull Durham.
Yeah.
This, Dead Man Walking, and Mystic River. But you know what it gets down to also, beyond it, it's the experience itself. It's because you can do a good movie, and it can be torture to do, and it can not live as a great experience. But all of the movies I just mentioned, they're all with people that I really loved, and you know that's part of the whole trip of it, is that you know if you can find yourself in a situation with someone for 3 months, you know, where you get to be with really great people. It's you know it's again it's the weird nature of this profession. You know, you find yourself with groups. It's like gypsies. You know, you find yourself with a different band of gypsies for 6 months or 4 months or whatever the time period is, and it becomes this golden little treasure in your life. And you look back on it, and you know, Mr. River took 7 weeks, but that's so rich, that experience, that it'll hold me for a couple of years, I think, more. You know. It's just
Who influenced you the most as a director?
Oh gosh, that's a really hard one to answer, because I think every.
You started out writing.
Yeah, I started out writing. I still am, in large measure. You're only saying that because I've lost my hair.
You don't know something I don't know.
What I want to know is, after 10 years, why do I look like I've aged the most? That's what I want to know.
You don't.
You guys.
This is all white.
Yeah.
White.
I think every movie that touched my heart in some way, or stirred my intellect in some way, has been an influence. I mean, whether it's Citizen Kane or whether it's you know, a Kubrick film, 2001. I certainly, as you know, was deeply affected by Frank Capra's films.
Right.
You know, which nowadays qualifies me as a thorough sap, apparently, because we're in a very nihilistic world nowadays. But maybe not so much, because every once in a while you pull a rabbit out of the hat like this, and people go, "Wow, that said something hopeful to me."
Let me close with this. Did you guys know, as this was happening, that something special was taking place here?
No,
No?
I never know. I
So
can
you
never
can't
tell in a film, because you have moments. You don't have a whole film. You have moments, and we'll work together, and we know that, you know, we nailed the moment, but you don't know if you nailed the film.
But can you nail the film? He's got to nail the film.
He's got to nail the film.
Yeah. Same thing, or
Yeah,
not?
yeah,
You knew that you had good moments.
yeah. But we didn't know.
You don't know.
You have good text. You have good actors. You do your job every day, and you hope that you have something good, at the
shooter
end of
too.
it.
Shooter.
But
Deakins,
fabulous
Yeah.
cinematographer.
Was it
Really
hard to
great.
cut? I mean, this ended up how long?
2 hours and 22 minutes.
So did you start off with what, three
It
and
was
a
like
half?
3 hours, 3+, something like that. It wasn't hard to cut.
And
'cause
then
you just-
again, you know, when you saw the movie, you know, we all knew it was really great,
Yeah. Once you see it.
but we didn't know
Yeah,
that it
right.
was going to be what
No,
it became.
no.
either.
Exactly right. There's one thing, you know it, love it, and like it, and think it's great. The other is this another level it went to where it becomes a classic.
Yeah.
Which was a very slow build over a period of 10 years, and now we get to do our special 10-year anniversary. With,
How many films get that?
I mean, that's fantastic. Isn't that great?
So let me just end there. A 10th anniversary edition of the DVD will be released in September 2004, along with the re-release of the movie to 11 theaters nationwide. Shawshank Redemption, Castle Rock's entertainment production, directed by Frank and starring Morgan and Tim and wonderful actors, some no longer with us. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Happy flying.
Thank you,
Frank.
Charlie. Great to see you, as always.
Thank you.
Thanks,
you.
Charlie.
Shawshank Redemption, 10th anniversary. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.